Good afternoon, and welcome to this Hangout about the Programmatic Google Display Network. We're really excited to have you with us. My name is Nick Darveau, and I'm the Director of Performance Solutions for the Americas. And I'm really thrilled to have Brad Bender with us, who's a VP of Product Management for our display advertising solutions. Hi, Brad.
Hey.
So today, Brad's going to share with us some practical and actionable tips to help us do better with GDN. And before this Hangout, we actually also got the top questions from the audience and are going to spend 10-15 minutes at the end answering those questions. But I want to start with a quick personal story. Before joining Google, I started a couple of startups myself. And like most startups, we did really well on search and got really good at it, but wanted to do more and do better. So we took the time to learn more about the GDN and display. And got pretty good at it over time. And the results were pretty astonishing. We saw that about 30% of our new customers came from the GDN, and also that the GDN really helped our search advertising campaigns do a lot better. So I love the GDN. I think it's incredible.
Great to hear.
Right. So Brad, look, I think one of the most important questions that most search advertisers have is, why should I care about the GDN as a search advertiser?
Yeah, first, it's great to be here today, and thanks to all of you for joining. I started at Google in 2008, and it's been amazing just how much has changed in the last decade for Google as well as for our advertisers. When I started, Google was primarily known as a search company, but nowadays 93% of our AdWords advertisers are using display. And I've had the pleasure of getting to know our sophisticated advertisers like eHealth as they use the platform. They ran a display campaign, and they found, in addition to the incremental conversions the display campaign drove, they also drove a 45% increase in brand-related searches and a 33% increase in category-related searches. So display can really compound the results you're driving with search, as Nick mentioned. But just think about how else the world has changed in the last decade. The challenges for marketers are increasing because consumers don't go online anymore. They live online. The average US household has 4 smartphones, and people are checking their smartphones 150 times per day. Now, this results in a lot of incremental data points and signals that you can leverage as marketers, but it also results in a lot of complexity, making finding and connecting with your audiences at scale very difficult. The promise of programmatic is to tackle that complexity and deliver the results you care about. That said, there still remains a lot of confusion about where to begin and what programmatic even means. The way we define programmatic is using technology and audience insights to automatically buy ad inventory to reach the right person with the right message. For consumers, we've seen programmatic deliver highly relevant ads that they respond to. And the mission of the Google Display Network is to make the power of programmatic available to all advertisers.
Thanks, Brad. That was really helpful. And I know there are 2 different programmatic solutions at Google. There's the DoubleClick suite. There's the Google Display Network suite. How do we think about them differently, and where is it most appropriate for what type of advertiser?
That's a great question. So the DoubleClick Bid Manager is an integral part of a full ad tech stack solution. It's effective for creating and managing holistic campaigns across multiple channels. And it's able to access multiple inventory sources, including the ad exchange. The Google Display Network is a turnkey programmatic media buying solution. You're able to access the Google Display Network via AdWords. And it accesses the ad exchange as well as premium Google-owned and operated properties such as YouTube and Gmail. Therefore, it's a really effective starting point for search advertisers that want to start off with display, as well as for traditional display advertisers and agencies who are looking to achieve reach and scale. The Google Display Network has been built to meet the needs of any advertiser, regardless of size or scale.
Great. So today we'll focus on a GDN, and we won't be talking so much about the DoubleClick product. So how do we get started with this? I'm a search advertiser, or I've been using GDN for a while. What are the steps that you would recommend to get some great results?
Yeah, we really think about the keys to programmatic success in terms of 3 steps, and I call them the 3 R's: reach, relevancy, and results. And we'll spend more time on each of these. Reach is about reaching people when it matters. Great marketing always starts with defining and reaching the right audience, regardless of what device they're on, desktop or mobile, app or web. Relevancy is about matching the message to the moment. This is about ensuring that you're able to show the right ad when it matters. Our real-time bidding and creative optimization is designed to help you do exactly that. And third, results is about optimizing with full transparency. This is about knowing exactly where your ad dollars are spent and how they perform, and being able to improve that over time.
Right, that's a really helpful framework. So should we tackle them one by one?
Sounds great.
Right, so let's start with reach, right? I mean, any good marketing starts with talking to the right audience at the right time. And if I want to start with the GDN and I want to have great reach and develop a good audience strategy, where do I begin?
Yeah, you always want to start with data that's unique to your business. Many of you already have your sites tagged with remarketing. And as we know, remarketing is incredibly important. Consumers are visiting sites up to 6 times on average before making a purchase. Programmatic remarketing on the GDN can help you re-engage with site visitors on a personalized basis, even after they've left your site. And because the GDN has the #1 multi-platform web reach, where we're able to reach over 95% of US users, this really enables you to reach these audiences at scale. And we do this through a combination of our over 2 million inventory partners across desktop and mobile, web and app, as well as proprietary properties you can access, such as Google Finance, Maps, Play, YouTube, Gmail, as well as AdMob, which is used and trusted by more app developers than any other platform in the world. Having access to this kind of scale enables Google to understand different patterns of behavior, identify who your highest value audiences are, and engage with them at that perfect time. There are 5 key areas you should think about when you're developing your holistic remarketing strategy, and I'll walk through them one by one. First, you want to set up smart. Tag your entire desktop and mobile site. Next, you want to send the right messages to the right prospects so that you can cater messages to each. For instance, your homepage viewers versus your category page viewers, or product or offer page viewers, people that put something into the shopping cart and then later abandoned it, as well as past converters. Next, you want to set your bids and ad formats for success. Pair remarketing with Conversion Optimizer, which we'll come back to later. And then you also want to use all display ad sizes and formats, including text, mobile, image, and HTML5. Use dynamic remarketing to show the most personalized ad possible. And then, if you're already using Conversion Optimizer, we'd recommend you take the next step and move from Conversion Optimizer to target return on ad spend. Next, because people who have shown up on your site have demonstrated such strong intent, you really want to remove as many restrictions from your campaign as possible. You want to optimize your settings for best results. So remove exclusions for languages, locations, and placements. And then last, once you've done all of this, you want to look for new qualified customers using things like similar audiences, in-market audiences, or auto-targeting.
And Brad, you mentioned, we're always looking to get more qualified customers. You mentioned other types of GDN targeting. Can you expand on that for both performance and brand advertisers?
Sure. When we think about audience definitions, we really think about them in 2 buckets. The first is advertiser proprietary data, or first-party data, and we've already covered that with remarketing. And the second is Google proprietary data, which is intent-rich data. Intent-rich signals exactly what a customer wants, where they want to go, what they want to do, where they want to buy. And for instance, search is laden with intent-rich insights. Well, the Google Display Network was born into the same philosophy as search. It harnesses learning from the same contextual engine that powers search to be able to describe pages on the web down to a keyword level. This is what allows the GDN to understand and marry up the context of the page with users' behaviors and interests. And no other data source can really layer together these two things to deliver ads as relevant to search. GDN with our audience suite is pulling together these intent-rich as well as contextual signals with great under-the-hood technology to act in real time. And I'll walk you through some of the options. First, similar audiences is lookalike targeting. It helps you automatically find people who look like your best customers. For instance, if you're a fashion retailer, it helps you reach people who look like people who have already bought a handbag from you. Next, in-market audiences allow advertisers to reach customers who are actively researching and intending to make a purchase, regardless of business. And a key differentiator between using in-market audiences with Google and third-party segments are a few things. First, our lists are created in real time. All these cookies are updated in real time, and we leverage customized look-back windows to adjust for different verticals with varied conversion cycles. So, for example, people are generally in the market for a car longer than they're in the market for a sweater. The next difference here is that we're able to reach intenders, not just people that have shown a general interest. Our customized algorithm is able to differentiate between those two things. And an example here is, someone might be generally interested in cars, but really they're interested in race cars and Formula One racing that they'll watch on the weekend. That's very different than someone who's actively in the market for a new SUV for their family. Next, we've developed an affinity audience suite, which helps brand marketers looking to raise awareness and drive consideration by reaching audiences based on detailed pictures of their lifestyle, behavior, and interests. It reaches users online in a similar way to how you think about TV. So reaching cooking enthusiasts or reaching luxury travelers. And you also have the ability to overlay this with demographics or other targeting types to reach your specific audience. A complement to our broader affinity suite is our custom affinity solution, which allows you to reach a more niche set of users, defining your own custom audience. So for instance, if you're a health store looking to find vegans, you could compile a list of keywords that describe the content that this type of user would have previously browsed, such as vegan recipes, non-dairy, soy protein, etc. Last, I want to mention auto-targeting, which really helps you take it the next step. If you're already leveraging our automated bidding solutions, auto-targeting can help you automatically reach additional customers at a similar cost per customer without having to think about which targeting type is best for you. The system will automatically figure that out. This is made possible through campaign learnings, which include data specific to the advertiser, user-specific signals, as well as GDN-wide learnings that deliver more clicks, conversions, or revenue. All of these signals are leveraged in real time. And just talking about how we keep these lists fresh, almost 200 million users are actually expired off of these lists every day. But because of the scale of the Google Display Network, we have over 1 billion users that are characterized in our audience suite.
Sounds really powerful, and like for a simple-minded salesperson like me, I like to use examples. So I'm going to pepper the rest of the Hangout with some examples. So one I'd like to mention is for New Zealand, who was using this very powerful suite of products to change how they were targeting their market. They realized, first of all, that the customers had changed quite a bit, that about 70% of consumers would use the web to do some pretty significant research before ever stepping into a dealer. That's a big, big change. And their previous strategy was not really about that. It was more about branding, not so much about putting the information in front of consumers to drive them to dealers. So they switched their strategy to wanting to drive people into their dealership. And they used the GDN across the entire funnel, right? They used affinity audiences for upper funnel, in-market for mid-funnel, and remarketing for customers who were the closest to buying their car. And the results were pretty astonishing. They went from a set, and forget kind of mentality to a constantly optimized mentality. And so the results improve all the time. And they also created some really clever custom ads to drive people to their site. For instance, they realized people were going into their site and changing the colors of the cars in the car builder very often, and put that into their ads, which was great. They saw some pretty astonishing results. They saw 60% increase year-on-year of visitors to their site. And as importantly, if not more, 5% of all the dealer leads came from the Google Display Network, which is incredible.
Yeah, that's a great example. And I love that they brought it back into their ads as well.
Right.
So to recap, a successful programmatic strategy really starts with defining and reaching the right audience. It's important to start with your own customer data. Programmatic remarketing on the GDN can help you re-engage with your existing customers to reach them at the right time with the right message on the right device. Then you can leverage powerful audience signals like Ford did on the GDN, indicating intent and immediacy to find and reach new customers. And all of these signals are enabled in real time to drive efficiency and results for your business.
Right. So first step, I'm talking to the right people at the right time. If I understand correctly, the second step is I got to be relevant. I got to say the right things to those people. Tell me more about that. How do you do that?
Yeah, it's exactly right. The second key step for programmatic success is relevancy. And the way you achieve programmatic success there is by reaching the user with the right bid and the right message. And Google has developed a variety of tools that help you as advertisers ensure that these bids and creatives are as efficient and relevant as possible. First, we've developed real-time automated bidding. Next, personalization via dynamic creatives. And third, other auto-optimized formats to drive enhanced relevancy and more efficient performance.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, I was an advertiser as well, and I found that to be hard, frankly. Right? There's so many options. There's so many different ways to set bids. Like, how can Google help to make this easier to manage?
Yeah, this is exactly why automation is so key. There are just so many signals that it's impossible to harness them all without machine learning. On the GDN alone, there are 70 million unique signals that go into each auction bid decision. And this is why Google's developed real-time bidding and creative optimization tools designed to help with exactly this, to help advertisers achieve results scalably.
And you had mentioned before we started to me that Wayfair was a great example of that. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I know you're familiar with Wayfair as well, and many of you are probably familiar with Wayfair. They're an online home furnishing and decor company who turned to programmatic on the Google Display Network to reach new, high-value customers efficiently and at scale. Wayfair used a variety of targeting types to reach their audience, including in-market audiences, keyword contextual targeting, as well as similar audiences. And to reach, and they used all of that to reach new users. And then they also used remarketing to be able to reconnect with their existing users. Wayfair quickly learned that addressing all of the relevant customer signals while manually optimizing their display campaigns could be difficult and time-consuming. And so to combat this, they implemented Conversion Optimizer to programmatically bid for customers. Conversion Optimizer is able to analyze every ad auction, click, and conversion that Google delivers. And by now, that's data from 75 billion events that can be used to predict future performance and manage your bids for best results. Conversion Optimizer takes into account customer signals such as actions on your site, device, user location, or time of day to intelligently reach people where and when they're most likely to respond and buy. And this helped Wayfair reach new and high-value customers at the right moment, as well as at the right price. And in Wayfair's case, they got great results. They were able to lower their cost per acquisition by 75%.
Wow, that's incredible. I kind of heard a rumor that personalized ads have a click-through rate that's about 50% higher than non-personalized ad. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true.
That's good, but it's impossible to create a personalized ad for millions of people. So how do I do this at scale?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it is nearly impossible to manage all of this complexity without the efficiencies of technology and automation. Advertisers can't manually create enough versions of an ad to run in every possible place that they need to be. Yet we know that customization is exactly what consumers respond to and what advertisers need to be relevant. Why shouldn't ads be able to automatically respond and adapt to the environment on their own? When we think about customizing at scale, we focus on simplification, automation, and responsiveness. And we've invested significantly against all of these areas to make delivering personalized creatives at scale easier for all advertisers. One of the ways I want to talk about is dynamic advertising. And this isn't just traditional creative optimization. This is using feeds or an asset library to deliver the most relevant message possible. Dynamic remarketing lets you show previous visitors more personalized ads for products and services they visited on your site, or similar products that they might be interested in. These new dynamic remarketing ads will automatically resize to fit any placement, regardless of size or device. And we've updated the style of these ads to give them more beautiful styling and to fit in with the look and feel of your brand. Why is this valuable? Well, this enables you to reconnect with your consumers with the right message at scale. And it really provides an even more relevant experience on any device. On average, we've seen clients that have implemented dynamic remarketing see double the conversion rate at 60% lower CPA. So it's incredibly effective.
You know, and I remember doing this myself, and you know, there's so many different ad sizes and Flash, non-Flash, HTML5. I remember also that complexity around that. Can you tell us more about that issue as well?
Yeah, and outside of dynamic remarketing, we could do even more with automation. We're doing a lot of work behind the scenes to allow you to build once and let Programmatic really automatically optimize on your behalf. And really, it's about delivering to all of the potential inventory slots you might want to run in: desktop, mobile, app, or native spots. For instance, with auto resizing, we've made it so you just have to upload 3 sizes to be able to reach 95% of placements through auto resizing. Previously, the maximum you could reach with 3 sizes was 55%. So this is really enabling you to deliver a lot more scale and reach with less effort. Second, you mentioned auto HTML5, actually. And 84% of advertisers are still using Flash, even though it has a decreased ability to work on mobile and desktop. And so we've automated that process. So if you have a Flash creative, we'll automatically be able to upgrade that to HTML5. And we've seen ads in HTML5 have up to 3 times the click-through rate of Flash ads on mobile devices. So again, we've just made it easier to succeed with this without having to do additional work. The last piece I want to talk about is auto-optimized text ads. We've been able to automatically optimize GDN text ads for performance across 3 different text ad types: standard text, native text, and rich media text. If you provide an image, description, and a URL, the system will pick the best one for each placement to maximize your performance. This reduces the manual building that advertisers need to do to deliver engaging text ads. And did you know that the majority of advertisers are spending more than 20% of their GDN budget on text ads? Among them, on average, those that actively manage both image and text are seeing 40% more conversions than by including text ads while also maintaining their CPA.
I did know that, by the way. I actually love those text ads. I think it's an easy migration for a search advertiser as a first step into the Google Display Network. Thanks for that. That was really helpful. Let's take a look at another example of a company that was trying to increase the relevancy and personalization of their ads using dynamic ads. And this is Jet Airways. And you can imagine how you can improve an ad for an online air company if you know where people want to go and where they are today. So that's what they did. Their ads had the location of the user and the destination they wanted to go to and a date in which they wanted to fly right inside the ad, which I think is really cool and also very useful for the consumer. So they customized these ads and did a lot of testing. And after 6 months, they saw a 200% increase in conversion and 65% decrease in CPA, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. So to recap this section, in order to drive relevancy through bidding and personalization, you want to automate your bidding, as we saw with Wayfair. You want to personalize creative with dynamic ads, like we just heard about with Jet Airways. And you want to automate your creatives to create better user experiences and increase efficiencies across devices at scale without having to do any additional work.
Right. So, I've talking to the right people, right? I've got the right reach. My ads are the right ads. I'm relevant. I'm bidding properly. I'm using some automation. So these are kind of the building blocks. But now I want to make sure that I'm making money out of this, right? So how do I make sure I get the right results?
Yeah, in terms of results, the first thing I'd like to talk about is consumer behavior across screens. Many marketers are struggling to see the full picture of how their users are engaging with ads across screens. And we've heard that 90% of users are actually using multiple screens throughout a day to sequentially achieve tasks. Consumer journeys aren't linear anymore. And so really, our job in ad technology is to help marketers like you fit these puzzle pieces back together so that you can get a full picture of what's actually happening with your users. Last click attribution and single device models are easy, but they really don't give you the full picture. Not measuring cross-device behavior nowadays is really not measuring the full impact of your marketing. So we, as Google and the Google Display Network, have invested in ways to help marketers ensure that they can measure these new paths with more precision. And that's why we've invested in cross-device conversions across search, display, and shopping. Marketers around the world can now capture the full value of their AdWords campaigns by using cross-device insights. And they're measuring up to 16% more conversions from search and 11% more conversions from display. And there are a few best practices you can get started with when you're enabling cross-device conversions that I'd like to walk you through. First, consider longer conversion windows, even up to 90 days if it makes sense for you. Users who research across multiple devices generally take longer to convert than someone who converts on her first visit from her first device. Next, you want to add the cross-device conversions column to your reports at the campaign level. Since we're so strict on statistical significance of our cross-device conversions reported, some campaigns may not see cross-device data at all. Next, you want to understand the difference in performance uplift between mobile and desktop. The uplift rate across your various devices will most likely vary. By being aware of these differences, you can adapt your strategy accordingly. For example, you can adjust your base bids according to your desktop uplift, and then adjust your mobile bid adjustments based on the performance differences compared to desktop.
Right. So in a mobile world, it's really important to make sure you follow the customer journey from mobile to desktop, or else you're going to be missing a big piece of the action.
And in reverse.
And in reverse, that's right. And so here's a good example of this. So here's Vivint, which is a great kind of home technology provider. And they kind of knew this instinctively. They could see people doing that, but they wanted to actually get to the numbers so they can get some insights and use them. And by using the cross-device conversion, they were able to see that mobile display was driving 23% more conversions than they thought it was. So armed with that, they also were able to calculate that their CPA was 19% lower. And you can see how you can create a whole different kind of bidding strategy and optimization strategy with that, and get more customers at a better CPA. So they had some really fantastic results.
Yeah, that's great.
Kind of switching topics a little bit, I know probably many of our watchers are concerned about ad viewability, right? It's an important topic. If I understand correctly, more than 50%?
Yeah, 56%, yeah.
Of all display ads on the web are actually not seen.
Yeah.
What are we doing about this?
Yeah, this is an incredibly important area for us. And we're continually strengthening our commitment to viewability and making that the currency of digital advertising. Because we really want to help marketers and publishers work together transparently and efficiently. As a matter of fact, a viewable CPM buying launched on AdWords in 2013, so that advertisers could choose to only pay for display and video impressions that met the MRC-defined industry standard for viewability, which is 50% of the ad on screen for a second or more for display and 2 seconds or more for video. As a result, last year, over 70 billion impressions weren't billed to AdWords advertisers because they didn't meet that standard. Today, the Google Display Network is 100% viewable. all CPM campaigns are now viewable CPM campaigns in AdWords. And this makes the GDN one of the only media platforms where an advertiser doesn't pay for an impression unless the ad actually had a chance to be seen. To complement viewable CPM, frequency capping in AdWords also only counts viewable impressions for all display and video campaigns. And these metrics should really help you get a better understanding of which placements and creatives are driving strong performance when they have a chance to be seen. If you're a CPM buyer in AdWords, you don't need to do anything differently. All of your campaigns are now viewable CPM campaigns. But if you're a performance-based advertiser, viewability is something you should consider. Viewability guarantees that the ad is seen, so your performance can be measured more accurately.
Great, that was really helpful. Those were all the kind of prepared questions that I had. These were the softball questions. Now we've got 4 or 5 hardball questions from the audience. So let's get to those. Those are fantastic questions. Thank you so much for submitting those. So the first question is around auto bidding. What are some signals that auto bidding works on, and can they work for advertisers of all sizes, or is this for the big guys?
No, that's a great question. And really, auto bidding has been created to meet the needs of all advertisers. And our auction is unique because we harness millions of signals and permutations to optimize ads towards this consumer journey that we're talking about. We're able to programmatically select the right person on the right moment with the right message with the right bid. And the signals include actions taken on your site. So it could be the past purchases you made or the number of pages you viewed. It includes current frame of mind, so what device you're on, the ad type, as well as the recency of your behavior, as well as consumer characteristics like the ones we talked about, such as demographics or interests. And like I said, this is really flexible to various budgets. Advertisers leveraging some of our automated bidding solutions, such as Conversion Optimizer, on average are seeing a CPA improvement of 20% on display. And that's an average. So many advertisers are actually seeing a stronger improvement.
Well, I knew eventually, even when I was an advertiser, I had to automate. Right? It was such, CPAs got better, but also I saved so much time.
Right.
In the end, the machine kind of was better than me at optimizing this stuff, which is not very hard to believe. The second question was around auto-targeting. So how does auto-targeting work, and what are the available options?
Great. So we chatted a little bit about auto-targeting earlier. And really, targeting optimization is letting AdWords target new users on your behalf that we believe have a high potential to convert. And this is within your display network only campaigns. And really, what this is doing is helping you find additional customers at a similar cost per customer. This auto-targeting feature works well with all the targeting that you've already set up for your display network campaign as well. And you have 2 options here. You can use our conservative auto-targeting mechanism or our aggressive auto-targeting mechanism, which is also known as Display Campaign Optimizer, or DCO. With one checkbox in your display targeting settings, you can automatically expand your conversion volume, again, conservatively or aggressively. And this is happening via contextual and audience expansions. What we're able to do is we're able to find new inventory or new users at your existing ROI. And like we talked about with auto bidding, auto targeting can also save you time by really solving this targeting selection for you. And advertisers leveraging our auto targeting solutions can see on average a 20% conversion lift at a comparable CPA.
It's amazing. Great. A third question, question is, we've been hearing a lot about native advertising in 2016. How do you think about the shift in native ads, and what's Google doing to provide a better native ad experience for its advertisers?
Yeah, and we hear about native a lot. And as you know, we have our own native formats with search, as well as with things like TrueView on YouTube. We've also recently announced support for native formats in AdMob and our publisher platform products. We also have native Gmail ads, which have been available through from 2013 in AdWords. And here you can leverage a lot of the same targeting types that we already talked about today: affinity targeting, topics, demographics, keywords. And but it behaves like an email does. And so when a user engages with the ad, they can get a full screen immersive experience. With Gmail, obviously, we have users that are signed in on both desktop and mobile. And so we've seen brands like Marriott have great results with this from this full screen immersive experience, driving things like awareness and consideration for their Renaissance brand.
Wonderful. The next question is around fraud, which is a very big concern in the industry. Can you discuss Google's perspective on fraud, the fraud team, and what advertisers can expect?
Yeah. And this is an area that's really important to us, and it's an area we've invested significantly in. We all have over 1,000 people within Google, engineers, policy experts, who have really dedicated their career to fighting fraud. In 2015 alone, we continued to stay ahead of these bad advertising practices online. Last year alone, for instance, we disabled more than 780 million bad ads for violating our policies. And that's a number that's increased over the years thanks to new protections we've put in place. As a matter of fact, if you spent a second looking at each of these ads, it would actually take you 25 years to view them all. So this is a really big area of focus. Other areas that we've focused on are counterfeit goods. We've continued our crackdown on counterfeit goods. And as a result, we suspended more than 10,000 sites and 18,000 accounts for attempting to sell counterfeit goods like imitation designer watches. And then the other area I wanted to highlight is malware. To protect the safety and security of our users is a real area of focus. We stop all ads that are pointing to malware, whether it's spyware, adware, or other types of malicious software. And as a result, we've removed 10,000 sites from our network for hiding forms of malware. So that's reducing unwanted downloads by more than 99%. If you want to read more about this, we actually publish a report annually called the Bad Ads Report, and that's published on our Google blog. So please check it out to find out more.
Great. And the last question is around mobile GDN. There are other networks available out there, but how does MGDN compare to other players in the market?
It's a great question. And mobile GDN, a lot of what I'm going to talk about really falls into the same buckets that we were talking about earlier, which is reach, relevancy, and results. And I'll just highlight a couple of the distinctions that are specific for mobile. Certainly, we're really finding that our mobile network is helping our advertisers reach users at the moments that matter. And on the reach side, Google sites have the #1 mobile reach in the US. We also extend these mobile campaigns automatically into AdMob, which I talked about earlier, which has over 650,000 apps in it. AdMob is used and trusted by more app developers than any other ad platform worldwide. And when we're talking about reach, the various audience targeting pieces that I discussed earlier also apply here, but you could also choose to reach people based on operating system or device. So that's reach. In relevancy, we've really taken a mobile-first approach to creative development. And the auto-optimization of creatives that I talked about earlier really have been created to optimally engage users regardless of what screen they're on. And when I talked about some of the bidding pieces, we're already leveraging dozens of mobile signals in our bid optimization, ensuring you reach the most qualified user. And then last, talking about results, we spent a fair amount of time talking about the importance of cross-device measurement and being able to optimize your performance by understanding how users are engaging with your brand across screens. I think it's just really important to learn these insights about how users are behaving across screens, especially when they start on one screen and they complete an action on another. You really want to be able to measure your conversions across browsers, understand the dynamics, even on a single device of where users are interacting with you on a web and or in app, as well as across devices, to help you make more informed business decisions.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. That's really helpful. I just want to make sure I get this right. We covered a lot of content today, so this is like a little test for me. But But we talked about reach as the first pillar, right? Getting to the right people at the moments that really matter, and that's audience and data. We talked about relevancy, which is making sure that the message they see is also appropriate at the moment that matters. We've talked about dynamic creatives. We've talked about bidding strategies to do that. And lastly is results, making sure we measure properly across devices, and make sure we optimize with full transparency and have as much data and transparency as possible. Did I get that kind of right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thanks. Hey, look, so any parting words and what you're thinking about for the rest of 2016?
Yeah, and first off, Nick, just want to thank you for having me here today, and I want to thank all of you advertisers and agency partners who are able to join us this afternoon. It's clear the customer journey is as complex as ever, and our time spent online has doubled over the past few years. So this complexity is increasingly hard for marketers, as I'm sure all of you are finding, but it also presents a lot of new opportunities to take advantage of all these new signals in real time. The promise of programmatic is to let the technology do the heavy lifting and solve this complexity. And I couldn't be more excited about the role that the Google Display Network is going to play in achieving exactly that. As I look to the rest of the year, I'm personally inspired about some of the cutting-edge technology we're developing in the programmatic space. I don't have any specific launches to announce today, but you can expect to hear more from us throughout the year that will help you take better advantage of your customer data and connect with your existing audiences, that will continue to build new targeting features and help reach new customers, improvements in our best-in-class bidding technologies to drive profitability, enhancements in our creative offering, making it simpler for you to deliver beautiful ads that are relevant at scale, and last but not least, continued advancements in measurement and transparency, enabling you to make better business decisions.
It's very exciting 2016, Brad. Thank you very much. And thanks, everybody, for joining. That's the end of the Hangout for today. But for those of you who could not join, this was recorded and will be made available. We also have a feedback survey below in the Hangouts that you can see. Please, we love your feedback. We really appreciate it. So please do fill that out. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your time. We really hope this was helpful.